iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams, race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to the show. Tonight we have race number 6 of the American Sim Racing Club here at the track that is too tough to tame, Darlington Speedway. We'll see the drivers duke it out under the lights here tonight. We will see if we get our 6th different winner of the season, or if we'll get our first repeat winner. Tune in tonight for this main event. And of course, we got our spotlight driver here. We'll be talking to the driver of the number 59 machine, that being piloted by Nate Henry. So we'll get Nate down here in the booth and get a little word with him here at the Darlington Speedway. Nate, you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Hey, Brett, how you doing?
Pretty good, man. How about yourself? You excited for Darlington here tonight?
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one here. Track's pretty slick, car's pretty loose, so it'll be a fun one as always at Darlington.
Yeah, it will be. It's a tough track, as we know, with how close you got to run to the wall to keep that momentum. Right now, you're sitting P8. How are you feeling about that practice time, and do you have some more speed in that car for qualifying?
I might have something more for qualifying. I've been, practicing with some gearing, trying to dial in what gear you need, because with these 5-speed sequentials, there's a lot more shifting than we're used to.
Yeah, I tell you what, Nate. I assume just 4th to 5th around this place here tonight.
Yeah, for the most part. Down 5th down the back stretch, and then I find I'm pretty much 4th down the front. But I've been playing around with maybe holding 5th earlier in the run as the tires warm up, and gain some of that grip as they warm up.
So, Nate, we got to know a little bit about yourself, the driver of the number 59 machine. I have you from Nobesville, Indiana. And how's it down there in Indiana? You got any good local short tracks near you?
Yeah, I grew up going over to Anderson in high school. Spent a lot of time over at Anderson watching sprint cars and late models. I live down in Bloomington now, so hang out the dirt tracks around here a lot. A lot of USAC stuff down southern Indiana.
Yeah, and I believe you said some of your favorite cars to watch are those USAC sprints, and I tell you what, those things are a blast to watch at your local track.
Yeah, those non-wing 410s they're pretty wild. Modern day cowboys, they're crazy out there.
Yeah, they are. And I have here, Nate, a little fun fact about you.
Yeah,
Your favorite.
Spent a lot of time growing up in Indiana here.
Yeah, that is too cool. And I have a little fun fact from you here. Looks like your favorite Real life race, especially for the Cup Series, is the Cup cars at the track we are at tonight at Darlington. What makes this place so much fun to watch?
Yeah, there's been some cool finishes at Darlington here. There's the famous one with beating and banging to the finish line. But I think what makes this track so cool to watch is the handling aspect, right? The different ends of the track are so different. Really puts it in the driver's hand to handle the race car, race the track, not the drivers around them.
Yeah, that is the key. You got to keep your car in one piece, especially around Darlington. We get cars right up against the wall. You think you're going to get yourself any Darlington stripes here tonight?
Oh, no doubt. Turn between 3 and 4. There's a bit of a cushion almost that you can ride, and a lot of guys have jumped that. So I'm sure I'll be joining them up there at some point. These cars are pretty tough though. I slapped off the wall a few times and only had about 12-15 seconds of optional repairs. So these cars can take a beating.
That they can, Nate. And I tell you what, what's your kind of outlook for the season? We appreciate you coming on another season with the American Sim Racing Club now for the Next Gen Series. Tell us a little bit what the expectations are here for the 59 machine.
I've been moving up the point standings every year, trying to just hold a pretty wheel, make some progress. This season I've brought a spotter on board for a lot of the races. Won't be with him tonight, but hopefully it won't be too much of an issue with very little pack racing tonight. But with his help, we've been moving up through the standings. A lot more top tens this season so far.
Yeah, that's a key. Consistency, work on that racecraft, and as long as you're improving, you're heading in the right direction. So awesome stuff to your Nate. And why don't you tell the fans watching at home, a little bit about the setup? What's that 59 machine have for the sim setup?
Yeah, we got a single monitor with a GT Omega cockpit. Rocking an old school G27 wheel and pedals though, so keeping a little old school. But the cockpit's helped a lot with consistency, especially just holding a stable body position. So that's certainly helped me a lot this season.
Yeah, the more factors you can keep consistent, the better. And I tell you what, Nate, you gotta start looking for some pedals because that helped me a lot to be more consistent, and that's definitely a first pretty good upgrade, I would say, in my book. Besides getting some more screens and being able to see around you, always a very helpful thing.
Oh yeah, I'm in the market for some pedals. But as summer ramps up and start going on trips and stuff, you know how it can go.
Oh yeah, money flies by fast. Well, Nate, before we let you go, I'm gonna go hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank and who might be tuning in tonight's stream for the 59 machine.
Yeah, big thanks to Turn 3 for bringing ASRC on. All three series, bringing them on board, and thanks to you, Brett, for broadcasting as always, and the admins for putting on a good show. We got a pretty good car count yet again, even for Darlington. So pretty excited. Got a couple buddies from back home and from work. I think tuning in. So should be fun. Looking forward to it.
Alrighty, Nate. You have yourself a great rest of the night. Hopefully, we'll be talking to you by the end of it. Good luck out here in qualifying, as I believe cars are being called on the track. So best of luck to you, man.
Thanks, Brett.
Alrighty, folks. That was the driver of the number 59 machine, Nate Henry, getting ready to pilot that thing here in qualifying. We'll wait for him to roll out onto the track and get up to speed for his first time lap. Looks like he's rolling right out of pits. He's ready to go after just chatting with us in the booth. We'll keep our eyes on the number 59 Advanced Auto Parts machine, that being piloted by Nate Henry. Henry getting up to speed down the backstretch. You want yourself a good run off of turn number 4 to click over to the first time lap. So Nate gonna try and do that here as the 59 machine off of turn number 4. He's on the clock. Right now, Nate Henry gets a piece of the wall into turn number 1. That will disallow this lap, so Nate Henry will have to go for it big time here on lap number 2 as he gets his first Darlington stripe of the night here early in qualifying. As he gets another piece of it here in 3 and 4, Nate Henry trying to find right where the limit of his car is. He's doing just as now he starts lap number 2. right now. Devin McDonald currently quick time now being dethroned by Dave Payton. So Payton at the quick time right now. Tim Rogers ties that time. So as Nate Henry gets the piece of the wall off at turn number 2, big time contact to that right front. So Nate Henry, probably not a time lap for the 59 machine. He'll bring that thing down pit side and he will try again. As we now look at the driver of the 951 machine, that is Brian Wildison on his first time lap. We'll see where Wildison can go off of turn number 4. Excuse me, off of turn number 2. He's down the backstretch, so he was just going through 1 and 2. Now in 3 and 4 car, a little bit loose. You saw him have to bobble it just a little bit there. Will that hurt that time for the 951? He will cross the start finish line. He will go with a 30.16. So Wildison looking to improve on that lap time, but that will be his only lap as he will slow on down on the speedway. 1 car out here on pace. Hayden Swank, big time loose off of turn number 4. That car will go around. He'll get a piece of the inside wall. And tough break here for Swank as he will have to go back to the garage side. So qualifying proving very, very treacherous here at the Darlington Raceway. Another car I believe we have on track, maybe not, is Clay Atwood coming to a stop. He'll jump out. So a tough qualifying session as only 10 cars have taken a lap of the 15 that have showed up here tonight for the race. As right now it's Dave Payton sitting at the top of the timing scoring here with about a minute left. So Dave Payton looking to claim quick time as we'll take a look at the Darlington Raceway here. You can see the 2 different ends around the speedway. Turns 1 and 2 a lot wider than 3 and 4. You got a double apex 1 and 2 to get that run off of 2, to get that big run down the backstretch and dive it down into turn number 3. So we will see the drivers doing just that here tonight. And of course, from ASRC, we got to thank all the viewers tuning on in. We appreciate each and every one of you spending your Tuesday night with us. If you want to check out our league, you can check it out right there at the bottom with the AmericanSimRacingClub.com. As all of our series here at American Sim Racing Club are broadcasted by the Turn 3 Racing Network. We got now our Sunday Dirt Series in full swing, our Tuesday night, which we are watching live right now, and of course our Wednesday night Scrambler Series where you'll see yours truly out on the speedway turning some laps. As we get ready to wrap up qualifying here, we'll get everything ready to go as we get everyone sorted on out, and it looks like we now head over to our grid here tonight for the race. We'll start at the back and make our way to the front of the pack here at the Darlington Speedway. Starting in the 15th position is the 111 machine of Clay Atwood. Starting 14th is Dane Lloyd in the 009 or the 9 on the car. Then rolling off P number 13. He's our spotlight driver. That is the 59 machine of Nate Henry. Starting in the 12th position is Hayden Swank in the 35. Then we crack into our top 10. Starting in the 10th position is Drew Thiel in the 84. Starting in 9th, last week's highlight driver, that is Zach Rush in the 82 machine. Starting in 8th is Brian Wildison in the 951. Rolling off P number 7 in a throwback car. He was just announced to the Hall of Fame. That would be Greg Biffle on the car, but the driver tonight being Stephen Hoffman. Rolling off 6th is Kyle Munson in the 8. Now we crack into the top 5. Brandon Marlowe starts P number 5. Starting in 4th is Deontay Hero in the 00 machine. Starting in the 3rd position, Devin McDonald in the 18 Interstate Battery machine. Then we head to our front row in the Cheerios 48. That is Tim Rogers with a throwback here tonight. And starting on pole, leading us to green, is the 38 Pinkerton machine of Dave Payton. As these drivers getting ready here to do 90 laps before this race is on over here. We get the field ready to rock and roll. Lights are out on the pace car. This time by, we are going green flag racing, like I said, for 90 laps around this 1.3 mile tricky track of Darlington Speedway. The iRacing pace car dives off of pit road, and off of turn number 4, the field will come, being led by the 38 Chevy machine of Dave Payton. Payton waiting to get on the loud pedal. He jumps on it now. We go green flag racing here at the Darlington Speedway. It's a drag race into turn number 1. Tim Rogers, a quarter car length lead. He will roll the top side and take over the race lead into turn number 1. Tim Rogers quickly to the point. 2 cars very slow on the speedway down low. That looks like Nate Henry and Zach Rush. Not sure what happened to them at the start, but we go back up to the front here. Tim Rogers leading the way over Dave Payne. Deonta here, another throwback car to the old Michael McDowell scheme. He sits in third. Fourth, Stephen Hoffman. And fifth, as one car goes around in the back, that's the 84 machine of Drew Thiel. He will come to a rest at the start finish line, and that will be our first yellow of the night. Drew Thiel in it, and I believe further on down, some more cars involved. It looks like some hot lap hero machines of Dane Lloyd and Clay Atwood. As we take a look here off of turn number 4 at the 84 machine, I believe he just got loose on his own, already a little bit right front contact and with no side force. He goes to correct it. That thing snaps right, and Dane Lloyd, just an innocent bystander, he will spin off on the speedway and I believe collect one more person as he weaves and wobbles in that 9 machine. Man, Nate Henry does some great evasive maneuver. Clay Atwood jumps on the binders and gets a piece of the inside wall, just spinning on his own, and that will bring out our first yellow as we jump on board with the 59 machine, our spotlight driver. As we take a look on board from the 59 machine at this wreck, you can see it going on for a long time with this contact with the 84 and the 9. 84, of course, getting loose on his own, then the 9 car trying to save it down the whole front stretch, left, right, and then it cuts right. And man, Nate Henry just squeezing on by. He finds himself a little bit of luck here tonight as he's now in the 9th position, up 4 spots here early in this race from where he started. We do have a few takers down pit road, that being Kyle Munson in the 8 and Drew Thiel trying to get some damage repaired on the 84 Ford machine. But we go back up to the front of our field here. Tim Rogers leading the way here early. He got the jump on Dave Payne. Now, will Tim Rogers do the same when he has to restart in the low lane? That will be the question we will have to find out here in just a few minutes, folks. As maybe we jump on board with Nate Henry. You know, we just talked to him a little bit, but maybe we'll talk some more with him while we got a second and see what the view out of the 59 machine saw there, as he did some great wreck avoidance. Nate, you got a copy. It's Brett the Jet in the booth.
Hey, Brad, how you doing?
Man, talking to you here early in this race, I tell you, a heck of a move to avoid the 9 machine of Dane Lloyd. I mean, that had to be a little bit of a pucker moment for you.
Oh, yeah. Somehow still got a 4X. I'm not sure if I actually touched him. There might be some netcode there, but yeah, I was puckered.
Yeah, I tell you what, it was as close as you could come without actually making contact. We see you heading down pit road. Are you just making sure there's no damage on the 59 machine?
Oh, yeah, just trying to make sure. No sense in blowing it up here 10 laps in.
Yeah, Nate, and we saw a little bit of struggles in qualifying. We saw a handful of drivers, you know, not take times because of the conditions. Was that a little bit different than practice?
Yeah, I think the track's maybe a little bit more slick than it was in practice, and I wasn't expecting that.
Well, Nate, right at the start of the yellow, you know, you already made up 4 spots. I assume that's probably the game plan from here on out. Just keep that nose clean and try and click off as many spots as you can before the end of the night.
Yeah, there's a lot of race left, so just trying to keep her clean, keep all the fenders on.
That's a good plan, Nate. Well, best of luck to you. Great job at avoiding that wreck, and hopefully we'll be talking to you some more here throughout this race.
Thanks, Brett.
Alrighty, folks, that was the driver of the 59 machine once again, just making it around that wreck. That is Nate Henry as we jump back up front and we go back green flag race, and Tim Rogers leading the way as the field dives down into turn number 1. Tim Rogers just gets clear. Dave Payne a little bit of bobble at the apex, but Stephen Hoffman not there to capitalize. Deontay Hurer not the restart he wanted. He is falling to the back now under fire from Hayden Swankas. What's up with Tim Rogers? He is slow on the start. I believe he might have got a penalty for jumping that restart. He takes a 48 machine to pit road and will have to serve a drive-through penalty. So big time shake up there for the driver of the 48 machine as Tim Rogers now loses the race lead. That gives the race lead back to Dave Payne as he pilots the field here. He's got Stephen Hoffman though right on his back bumper there in case Payton makes any sort of mistake. Hoffman's there to capitalize in that second position. Then the second group here from third and fourth, that is Brian Wilderson and Deontay here right on the back bumper as well, keeping Wilderson honest as Tim Rogers does get back out on the speedway. He will just go a lap down, so Rogers hoping for a yellow here early in this race to try and get back on the lead lap. A little bit further back, Kyle Munson trying to get around Zach Rush. This is the battle for 8th on the speedway, also involving our spotlight driver Nate Henry in this battle here on lap number 9 now as Munson just getting out of the way. He says, I need to keep this car clean as long as I can. One car in the wall in the front stretch. That is Devin McDonald, and that 18 Interstate machine seems a little broke. Not sure if he broke a rear trailing arm or what is up with that car, but that car definitely off the pace and probably taking it down pit side here early at Darlington Raceway. Hayden Swank having Brandon Marlowe right behind him as well. Marlowe part of that Hot Lap Heroes gang. He got himself a top 3 last weekend, on the Sunday. First race of the Dirt Series, he ends up piloting that 37 machine up into the 3rd position. A very impressive run. Marlowe really likes the dirt, and I tell you what, Darlington kind of drives like a dirt track, you know, very loose, right on the edge, right on the wall, as now Tim Rogers tries to go back through this field, unlapping himself the hard way as Devin McDonald does take that 18 machine down on pit road. We will jump on board here with Hewer right on the back bumper of Brian Wilderson, trying to find any sort of open lane, keeping some air on the front nose, trying not to enter right behind Wilderson, try and keep that nose planted. And he's doing just that. As you can tell, that 000 machine very fast in the corner. Brian Wilderson recognizing this, saying it's too early to try and throw some wild moves. Brian Wilderson lets the 000 by, so Deontay Hurer back into P number 3 here. The fastest car on track at the moment is the car a lap down. Tim Rogers, last time by, fastest out on the speedway with a 29.71. So Rogers has a lot of speed in that 48 machine. He just needs a little bit of luck, not being a yellow flag some point in tonight's race. We go back up to the front. Payne still pacing the field. Stephen Hoffman still giving him chase. I mean, Hoffman right on the back bumper. We got to ride on board with Stephen Hoffman and see what he's doing to keep the pressure on our race leader. As you can tell, folks, very timid on this throttle, especially off these corners. You don't want to get these cars sideways because, as we saw with the 19 yellows last week at Martinsville, these cars get sideways at all, it is almost impossible to save them. As you can tell, folks, these cars slipping and sliding. Like Nate Henry was saying there right after we talked to him after that first yellow, these cars seem very slick out here compared to practice. Not sure why that is. Maybe just the rubber coming down and these cars probably having pretty aggressive tire wear by the end of it, and just trying to keep these cars underneath them. Stephen Hoffman still in P number 2, Dave Payne leading the way. Deontay Heuer in the 3rd position, Brian Wilderson 4th, Hayden Swank up into the 5th position, the biggest mover so far. He is up 7 positions from where he started. Of course, the other car in this first group is Tim Rogers. He's trying to unlap himself the hard way, now to the back bumper of Brian Wilderson. He's saying, I got a lot of speed in this car, let me on by. I'm trying to get back on this lead lap here sooner than later. Off of turn number 4, this battle will go. Tim Rogers to the inside of Brian Wilderson. He'll dive down into turn number 1, make it stick, slide on up. So Tim Rogers, another car down. He only has to pass the top 3 to get back on the lead lap. Looks like Drew Thiel got the 84 Ford machine back out on the speedway. He is out here clicking laps. The only car out there from that first yellow is Atwood. And McDonald's still repairing. It looks like Dane Lloyd also back out on the speedway. He sits P number 11 at the moment. One battle heating up on the speedway. Nate Henry on the back bumper of Kyle Munson. They'll go side by side into turn number 1 here. Henry trying to roll the top. Munson trying to keep the momentum down low off of the tight turn number 2. Nate Henry will get P number 7. That'll move him up 6 positions from where he started. So Nate Henry on the move here at Darlington. Now he has Brandon Marlowe in his sights. We go on board. As the battle continues here, Nate Henry another spot down as Marlowe lets him on by. So Nate Henry on the move. He is currently P number 6 at the moment. And now he has a big gap to the cars in front of him. Re-ride on board with our spotlight driver. We got a cockpit cam and see what's making this 59 machine fast and how far of a gap he has to our 5th place driver, Hayden Swank. As you can hear, riding on board with Henry, he's shifting the gears at least down the backstretch. On the front, he keeps it in 4th, but down the backstretch here, we'll hear him bang that 5th gear. So just a little bit of shifting on the 2 different ends. As you can tell, riding on board with Nate Henry, these 2 different ends drive very differently than each other on the speedway. As we look back up further in the field, Deontay Heuer falling back into the clutches of Brian Wilderson. This could be a battle for the 4th position before you know it. Heuer letting Wilderson on by, and he'll let Hayden Swank on by. So Heuer will lose 2 positions in this lap. Maybe that car already falling a little bit off the pace for the driver of the 00 machine. Out front, Dave Payne, Stephen Hoffman, healthy lead for these 2, about 2.5 seconds over our 3rd place driver now, Brian Wilderson. So these 2 trying to drive away from the field, but only being caught by the driver of the 48 machine of Tim Rogers, who is still trapped 1 lap down here at Darlington Raceway. Everyone getting spread on out. Like Nate Henry said, this is kind of a race for you versus the track. You don't really battle too hard with the cars around you until the closing stages, and that is the case here early in this race. A lot of give and take as Tim Rogers still pushing that 48 machine, trying to get back on the lead lap. Dave Payne leading the way. We jump on board looking back to our 2nd place driver and Tim Rogers as we ride on board and see what's making Dave Payne so fast here, leading the pace at Darlington. As we look back here on the back deck lid of Dave Payne, Stephen Hoffman slowly closing the gap. You can tell all these cars a little bit loose, a little bit free, as Dave Payne, our race leader, is sliding a little bit. One car down pit road. That is the 82 machine of Zach Rush. Not sure what happened to Rush, but he is currently down on pit lane in the 10th position. One car with a little bit of issue. He will stop on the front stretch. Dane Lloyd will get that thing back to pit road, so we stay green. We appreciate it, Lloyd, as he does not bring out a yellow, and we stay green flag racing here as Brian Wildison chipping away at our second place lead. And now that gap only 1 second to the race leader and about a half a second to second place at the moment. As Tim Rogers now makes the move to try and get around P number 2. He will try and get around Stephen Hoffman in turns 1 and 2. Hoffman keeping his foot in it. They go side by side. This will now open up the door for Brian Wildison, who will sneak on in. Brian Wildison with the move. He gets to the inside of Stephen Hoffman for P number 2. A heck of a move by Brian Wildison. He could have not timed that any better, and he will take over that second position as he gets big time sideways off of turn number 4, though. That opens up the door for Stephen Hoffman. It is a race, folks, for second place at the moment. Also involved in this battle now is Hayden Swank to the outside of Stephen Hoffman. So Hoffman losing 2 spots here in a hurry as Hayden Swank, Brian Wildison maybe saving a little bit of their stuff. But they got to give the big thanks to Tim Rogers as he opened up the door to make that happen. As Dave Payne catching a little bit of lap traffic. That's 82 machine of Zach Rush, who is currently in 10th position. And Zach, big time sideways. He somehow hangs on to that race car. Heck of a save by Rush there in front of the field. Hats off to him to keep that car straight, because without the side force, these cars very difficult. As now Brian Wildison has caught Tim Rogers. Rogers lets him on by, so Brian Wildison, a man on a mission here. He's looking for the race lead and about 1.25 second back from Dave Payne. I say we got to jump on board, ride on board with Brian Wildison. See what makes him so quick around this place as he's slowly chipping away at Dave Payne's race lead. You can see Payne off there in the distance, and I think it just smooth operator from the driver of the 951 machine. Not too sideways when he doesn't need to, and with not being sideways, he's carrying a lot of speed and slowly clicking off the lap times. We'll try and get some lap times up on screen here. Last time by, you see the speed difference about the same there as we try and jump on board with some lap times maybe as one car issues to him. That is the 000 machine of Deontay Huer. He will stop it on the front stretch, and I believe we will stay green. Yes, we will, but he will come to a complete stop here. We'll try and see what happened to Huer off of turn number 4. It looks like he got a little bit of bobble at the apex, and then off of turn number 4, just steps on out from underneath him ever so slightly. Man, big time contact to the left side of here. He will bring that thing down pit side as we get a yellow flag on the speedway, as I believe Zach Rush has come to a stop right at the flag stand. So we will see our second yellow flag of the night. We'll try and figure out what happened to Zach Rush off of turn number 4. And it looks very similar to the issue of Deontay Huer, who just happened a lap before. Not sure if there's something down off of turn number 4, but Zach Rush coming to a big slide and stop right at the start finish line. Somehow keeps that car off the wall. That's very impressive, but that is what Dave Payne needed to get back on the lead lap. And I believe Tim Rogers should be getting the lucky dog. He will find himself back on the lead lap after this. But right now, we got some drivers heading down pit road. As Dave Payton will lead the field down pit road. We'll see who wins the race off of pit road here, folks. The field heading pace speed to their pit boxes. As you see the field dive down in there, we'll jump a little bit further on out and see who will win the race off of pit road here. Dave Payton does get stalled number 1, so that is going to be very hard to beat him off of pit road. You see Brian Wilderson rolling out of his box there, and Dave Payton will just get the win off of pit road. Brian Wilderson in second. It looks like Kyle Munson just beating Stephen Hoffman off there. It looks like Nate Henry will roll out P number 5. So that will do it for pits there. All drivers taking 4 fresh Goodyear tires, filling their cars up with Sunoco virtual race fuel as we see the field catching back to the pace car here. So Tim Rogers, the early race leader, but then since his penalty having to pass down through pit road, it has been Dave Payton leading all the laps here. As we'll see if he can keep that going, but Brian Wilderson will restart second. Third being Kyle Munson, fourth Stephen Hoffman, and Nate Henry rounding out our top 5. And don't forget, folks, we've had 5 different winners here at the American Sim Racing Club this season, and we do the points this season with the cup cars that if you win, you're locked into the playoffs. So we have 5 different drivers eligible for the playoffs. They of course got to run 80% of the races to be fully locked in, but Dave Payne trying to add his name to the list, be the 6th different winner to lock himself in. I believe, I'm going to double check, but I'm pretty sure most of the cars in the top 5 have not won yet this season. That is the case. The only driver up near the front that has won a race is Hayden Swank in that 5th position now, as Kyle Munson did jump down pit road there late. So Dave Payton will be leading us to green. The lights go out on the iRacing pace car and around the speedway, so we'll get him re-racked, restacked, and get ready to go back green flag racing action as we are under our 2nd yellow here of the night here on lap 38. And through turns number 3 and 4, the field will come. The iRacing pace car makes the hard left-hand turn down pit road and off of turn number 4. Dave Payne leading the field to green. 38 Pinkerton machine on the loud pedal here. We go back green flag racing action. Stephen Hoffman gets a pretty good start from 3rd. Him and Brian Wilderson will go side by side into turn number 1. Wilderson will jump on out of it and slot back into the 3rd position. Wow, we got some cars riding together. We're going to do some turn 3, turn it up. folks, we come back live to some battles on the speedway. Nate Henry, Hayden Swank right on top of each other on the speedway. These guys trying to get themselves worked out. This is 4th, 5th, and 6th at the moment. Dave Payne trying to extend the lead out in front, but Brian Wilderson slowly reeling him back in already. As last time by, Brian Wilderson, fastest car on the speedway. He has closed into the gap now about 3 car lengths to our race leader. So Brian Wilderson, a man on a mission here. He's looking for the race lead here in a hurry. This time by at the stripe, we will see cross flags halfway down, halfway home here at the Darlington Raceway. We look a little bit further back. Nate Henry continue to keep Hayden Swank honest. He is about 2 car lengths back from our driver running in 4th here. So our spotlight driver, we jump on the roof of in the 5th position. He's got to hurry. He's got a very fast Tim Rogers in his rear view mirror and catching quick. Dave Payne may be realizing Brian Wilderson is on a move, jumps on a little bit harder, so he's able to keep Wilderson behind, but Wilderson right there in case our race leader makes any sort of mistake on the speedway. As Rogers has caught the back bumper of that second pack battle here. We jump on board Tim Rogers further on back and see this battle from 4th through 6th. Tim, of course, usually in a skull machine. Tonight he's in the Cheerios Throwback 2. As Rogers right on the back bumper of Nate Henry. You could throw a blanket over these 3 cars as Hayden Swank trying to defend 2 fast yellow race cars behind him. You can tell Nate Henry able to keep that car just a little bit lower than Hayden Swank, but Swank able to get off the corners just good enough to keep that cars behind him, as that's what he needs to do to hang on to that spot, as now Stephen Hoffman has caught this battle for the race lead. So now this battle up front heating on up as well. As Brian Wilderson gets a great run off the corner. He's going to be right on the back bumper of Payne. We jump on board now with our 2nd place driver, Brian Wilderson. Dave able to throw his 38 machine a little bit deeper in the corner, but Wilderson able to jump on the loud pedal a lot sooner, right on the back bumper of Payne. Wilderson goes, he has to almost check up to not get in the back bumper too hard of our race leader. So Brian Wilderson able to roll this middle way better than the rest of the field. Look at this closing rate, folks. I mean, that is very impressive as Wilderson looks to the inside of Payne for the race lead. Wilderson not able to carry the run off the corner from that apex. This time, Wilderson dives down to the inside. Battle for the race lead off of turn number 2. They stay off each other. Dave Payne stays off the wall. They go side by side now into turn number 3. This opens up the door for Stephen Hoffman in 3rd. Off of turn number 4, this battle comes new race leader, Brian Wilderson. Flying Brian Wilderson in the 951 will take over the point. Hayden Swank still able to keep Nate Henry and Tim Rogers behind him, so we go back to this battle. Still going on the speedway. These two waiting for any sort of mistake from Swank, but Swank being Mr. Consistent, he's not leaving any sort of door open for these drivers to take advantage of. As now we get side-by-side racing action. Nate Henry to the inside of Hayden Swank. Henry big time loose on the backstretch. He saves the race car. No, he doesn't. He gets a big piece of the outside wall. That will definitely damage the right side of the 59 machine. I believe he'll dive down onto pit road. And actually, no, he'll stay on out. He misses that very aggressive pit road entry. So a tough break to our spotlight driver as that car is not driving straight. You hate to see it for the 59. He was trying to make the move on Hayden Swank. And that proves to you folks how difficult this racetrack is. With everyone kind of single file on out here, folks. We're going to go to commercial break. We'll be right back on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Alrighty, folks, we come back at the Darlington Raceway. One car very loose off the corner. That is our second place driver, Stephen Hoffman, able to take over the second position. As we have some issues on our end, it looks like we might have lost the tower. So the rest of the way coming, colored commentary by yours truly, as Brian Wilderson leading the way in the 951 machine. Stephen Hoffman currently in that second position. Dave Payne currently in third, has dropped back to there. Tim Rogers able to get around Hayden Swank. He's up in the fourth position. Fifth going to Hayden Swank in the 35 machine. Sixth is Kyle Munson. A very strong run by him. Brandon Marlowe is in the seventh position in that 37 machine. Nate Henry down on pit road trying to get that damage repaired to the 59 machine. And Drew Thiel a few laps down in the 81. Deonta Hero in the 00 machine rounds out the top 10. As we now click down lap 60 of 90, so this race flying on by. Only 2 yellow flags here tonight. And so far we've had now a long green flag run here. As Hayden Swank has not let Tim Rogers out of his sights. He is now to the back bumper of Rogers. We jump on board with this battle once again for the fourth position. I mean, whew, it doesn't get much closer than that between the front nose of the 35 machine and that back bumper of Tim Rogers. Now we see what kind of momentum Tim Rogers has, or if he used up too much of his stuff to get back up through the field, back up to that 4th position. You hear these guys shift and you hear the tires squeal. These cars on the edge, especially with the shifting going on here tonight. You gotta be so careful jumping on the loud pedal in that 4th gear with the tire spin that is so apparent here at the Darlington Raceway. Brian Wilderson continuing to lead the way, but Stephen Hoffman finding some speed, getting himself a Darlington stripe here in 3 and 4. Hoffman was closing in to about half a second to the race lead, but with that contact to the outside wall, that slowed him down ever so slightly. He's going to have to build back up that momentum in that Greg Biffle machine. Off of 2 there, Brian Wilderson gets a piece of the wall. That could start opening up the door for our 2nd place driver, Stephen Hoffman. Our spotlight driver, Nate Henry, back out on the speedway. He is currently filed in at the 8th position, so Henry not the night he was looking for, especially battling for that 4th position, but looks like he will get himself another top 10 at least out of it by the end of the night. These two have not left, I believe, like 5 car lengths between each other. Tim Rogers closing back on the back bumper of Hayden Swank, so these two still a very close battle for that 4th position. Both these guys won it, neither of them really giving it on up here easily. We go back up to the front here, and Brian Wilderson, that gap shrinking to our 2nd place driver, Stephen Hoffman. Hoffman finding his rhythm late in this race. That 23 machine seems to have a lot of long run speed as he is closing in on our race leader here as we enter the closing stages of tonight's race. We now jump on board with Stephen Hoffman. We'll try and figure out what's making this 23 machine so quick. And interesting, folks, Stephen Hoffman leaving it in 5th gear, trying to prevent that rear tire spinning. That might be the key to a long run speed. You know, if there's a long run like we're seeing right now, keeping those rear tires cool by leaving it in 5th might be the move, as Stephen Hoffman not shifting here at Darlington and making it pretty quick, as he still has about half a second behind our race leader, who we see right out the windshield. Stephen Hoffman now sniffing the draft. We now jump on board on top of the pit box, the grandstands on the front stretch. This is the spotter view here tonight at the Darlington Raceway. These are what the spotters are seeing out on the speedway. As it looks like the 59 machine of Nate Henry back on down pit road. So Henry's night might be over, as he is still in that 8th position here. You can see Stephen Hoffman a little bit more momentum through the middle of the corner, able to get on the loud pedal just ever so sooner than our race leader, but Brian Wilderson still keeping him honest, barely letting that race lead dwindle over our second place driver. These guys kind of evening on out here at the moment. Here we look at our race leaders. We continue to look at Brian Wilderson. I say let's give it to the fans. We're going to go check out the fan cam here on the front stretch, and that is the sights. That's how far away they are down the back stretch. And they'll get up and close to us here down the front stretch here for the Darlington fan cam. As we close in on the final stages here, don't go anywhere, folks. We're going to go throw it to commercial break. We'll be right back on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Alrighty, folks, we have 13 laps to go here at the start finish line. We get everything sorted out on our own. Brian Wilderson continue to lead the way over Stephen Hoffman in second, Dave Payton in third, Tim Rogers fourth, Hayden Swank has fallen back to fifth. It looks like we only have 7 cars on the lead lap. Drew Thiel just getting around Nate Henry as Henry back out on the speedway, but Thiel also on the speedway as well, so there could be still a battle for that 8th position before this is on over. Stephen Hoffman, big time out of sorts off of turn number 4. That will open up the race lead for Brian Wilderson. Wilderson looking very quick, a little loose off of turn number 2, but he's trying to be our 6th different winner this season, and of course lock himself into the playoffs, not have to stress throughout the rest of the season. Brian Wilderson trying to do just that here with 11 laps to go. Brian Wilderson, not the race he wanted for last week, finishing P number 16 tonight, doing an awesome rebound. He is currently our race leader here with 10 to go. He had a runner-up finish to Tanner Tallarico at Auto Club. He came so close within just 1 lap. He was right at the back bumper by the white flag in 3 and 4. He tried to send it, couldn't quite get it to stick, so he came up ever so close. Now tonight might be his night, as that time by at the start-finish line, he sees 2 open palms, 10 laps to go here at the Darlington Speedway. Flying Brian Wilderson in the 951 from Hanover, Pennsylvania. He sees 9 laps to go at the stripe. He's, of course, has a few series ASRC wins under his belt in what used to be the Sportsman Series, now trying to add his name for the first time in the Next Gen Series. He only has 8.5 more laps to go. Stephen Hoffman, a very solid night tonight. He is up 5 positions from where he started. He got that thing figured out for race pace, and he had a lot of pace in the middle stretch, has since fallen off a little bit, so Hoffman's car definitely fading on away. Dave Payne, quick time here tonight. He's got a lot of short run speed in that Pinkerton machine. He's hoping for a late race yellow, but that's going to be hard to come by as everyone's spread on out. Tim Rogers, the rebound driver of the night, was leading at lap number 1, got the jump on Dave Payne into turn number 1, but then the next restart got the penalty for jumping the start, had to serve the pass-through penalty, went a lap down, but now once again finds himself back up in the top 5. A lot of speed from this 48 machine. He's hoping for a yellow because that's his only shot at a win here tonight. Flying Brian Wilderson continuing to lead the way down the backstretch here. 5.5 laps left. Dave Payne actually closing in on the back bumper. Stephen Hoffman. Does Hoffman have an issue? Does he have some damage to that right side? Hoffman in the wall in 3 and 4 there. That will continue to close up this gap as the battle for second position starts to heat on up. That time by at the flag stand, we see an open palm. 5 laps to go here tonight at the Darlington Raceway. Dave Payne licking his chops in this 3rd position. He can smell blood from Stephen Hoffman. That car a little slower than our 3rd position driver, so Dave Payne trying to make a move here late in this race and at least get back up to the runner-up finish before this race is on over. Hayden Swank having big time issue on the backstretch. That 35 machine heading down pit road late in this race. That moves Kyle Munson in the number 8 Horizon machine up into the top 5. Kyle Munson up into P number 5. Brandon Marlowe now up into P number 6, keeping the Hot Lap Heroes number 37 machine fairly clean. That thing looking pretty sporty here near the end, but we look back at this battle for a second as Dave Payne hoping for any sort of mistake from our 2nd place driver Stephen Hoffman. Wilderson has checked out in the race lead, about 2.5 second gap over this battle for second. This time at the start finish line, Wilderson will see popsicle sticks up in the air. 2 laps to go around Darlington Raceway. Dave Payne about 2 car lengths back now to Hoffman for second, so this battle heating on up here at the end. Like I said, folks, we've had last lap battles all throughout the season. Last week was not one. This week doesn't look like one unless we get a quick yellow here in a few seconds. But we will have a battle for second before this is on over. At the start finish line, Brian Wilderson will see the white cloth. 1 more lap to go around the Darlington Raceway. Brian Wilderson on cruise control down the backstretch. He just has to put in a solid lap, and he just wants to see that checkered flag before anything. But the battle for second looks like Dave Payne too far back. Not enough left in the tank to have a dive at it in turns number 3 and 4. He will try, but not enough. Off of turn number 4, the 951 will come. Brian Wilderson picks up the win for race number 6 at Darlington. A photo finish at the line. Dave Payne did have a run, but Stephen Hoffman able to keep the power down. He will claim second. Dave Payne third. Kyle Munson fourth. Tim Rogers actually incident. He gets in the wall. That moves Brandon Marlowe up into 5th somehow. But Brian Wilderson, flying Brian Wilderson, will pick up the win. He will be the 6th different winner of the series as he gets his congratulatory taps, as we'll see that 951 head to the front stretch, and we'll see him burn it on down for all the fans tuning on in here tonight for race number 6 of the American Sim Racing Club Next Gen Series. Before we go, you guys got to tune in next week as we go to Hotlanta, the repaved Atlanta. That is a super speedway. That race is going to be action-packed, a lot of wild racing there. So be sure to tune in next Tuesday to catch that as we see Brian Wilson burning it on down here at the front stretch. As Brian will stop right at the start finish line. We're going to go commercial break. Once we come back, we'll be talking to our top 3. Don't go anywhere, folks. Alrighty, folks, we come back to the Darlington Raceway and dialing up our 3rd place finisher, that being Dave Payton. Dave, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet here in the booth.
Hey, Brett, gotcha.
Alrighty, Dave, tell us a little bit about your race. But before the race, I guess we'll talk about qualifying. You pick up quick time. How'd you find that speed in this number 38 Pinkerton machine here tonight at Darlington?
Well, I don't want to give away my secrets, Brett.
Well, you know, if the fans are watching at home to try and get faster, we need a little bit. I mean, I assume you turn left and put your foot to the floor, but there's a little bit more to it than that.
Yeah, if you do that here, you're gonna kill yourself. I really don't know. I just I had a little trick that I tried. It seemed to work. I'm notoriously terrible at qualifying, so I was really happy with that. But I think just like any other lap, it's all about being smooth and putting the car in the right spot to get the good lap time.
Yeah, that did seem to be the case, of course, here at Darlington, Dave. Got to put your car ever so perfect to keep that momentum. It seemed like a lot of drivers were having trouble in qualifying it. Some people were saying it was a lot slicker than practice. Did you feel that way?
No, not really. I didn't think so. The car was just extremely difficult to drive overall, both through qualifying, practice, the race. Turns 3 and 4 were death. I mean, it was like impossible to get the car to come off of 4. I think that's where a lot of people were losing it, but I didn't really notice much of a difference between practice and qualifying. No.
Alrighty, Dave. Now we'll head over to the race, and it seemed like that 38 machine had a lot of short run speed here tonight, but then at the end, you started catching Stephen Hoffman. I mean, you had to be licking your chops there towards the end.
Yeah, I was. I mean, I was good being so careful and not really pushing it at all. And Brian came in and he came flying through. I have no idea how he had all that speed tonight. And then Steven was right behind him. And then with like 20 laps to go, I started slowly trying to get on the throttle a little more, a little sooner. And I started clicking off the time. I think if we had another couple laps, plus I think Steve got into the wall once or twice. That might have slowed him down a bit. So I think if we had another lap or two, I would have had him, maybe even going into that next corner. I got next to him coming to the line, but just ran out of laps. So.
Yeah, you did, Dave. It was a heck of a drag race to that start-finish line. You had a big run. I tell you what, Dave, I give you props. I think you're the only car out here that doesn't have right side damage tonight from Darlington.
Yeah, I made it through without the Darlington stripe. That's an accomplishment.
Yeah, you got to pat yourself on the back for that one. Well, Dave, congrats on the quick time and the podium here tonight. You're still searching for that first win. I know you wanted it bad here tonight, but to walk away with a podium, another good, solid points night.
Yeah, I mean, tonight I thought at first I was like, oh, maybe this is going to be it. And I was not even looking forward to this race at all because of how hard the car was through 3 and 4. It wasn't even fun, really. It was so sketchy. And then I was like, oh, I got the pole, and then I got out to a pretty good lead. And earlier on in the race, I'm like, maybe this is going to be the one that I finally get the win in the series. And then no sooner did I think that than Brian and Steven came barreling through, so I gotta stop jinxing myself.
Yeah, that's the case. But Dave, like I said, another solid points night. Before we let you go and celebrate this third position here tonight, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you, and I'm sure there's a lot of people you got to thank.
Yeah, of course. I'll thank you, as always, in Turn 3 for all the work that Turn 3 Broadcast Network has done for ASRC. Now broadcasting all 3 of our series, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday. So tune in to Turn 3 Broadcast Network on YouTube and catch some of the show. They got tons of good stuff on there. Tanner stepped up and covered for Andrew as admin tonight, so it was nice that he stepped away from the car and volunteered himself to admin. Nick came in and he was spotting for me and kind of talking me through and talking me off the ledge and all this stuff, and so I gotta thank him for that. And then of course my wonderful, beautiful, talented wife, who's not here right now, for putting up with me playing video games as a 42-year-old man.
Alrighty, awesome stuff, Dave. And of course, I gotta give you a shout out. Seeing you the last weekend at the Berlin Speedway, that was definitely awesome. We gotta give a shout out to you for making the trip on up there, Dave. That was too cool to see you in person and, of course, hang out with you.
Hell yeah, man. I'm coming back. It's not even that bad of a drive. I drive that distance like every day pretty much for work. So I'm thinking I'm going to look to June to coming back to Berlin and catch Tanner again and see you guys. So we got to coordinate, work something out.
For sure, Dave. You have yourself a great rest of the night. We'll be talking to you, I know, a lot here in the future.
All right. Thanks, Brett.
All righty. That was our third place finisher. Now we'll dial up our runner-up finisher, Stephen Hoffman, hanging on to the second position. Stephen, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Yeah, we got you.
All righty, Stephen. After that first run, man, that 23 machine looked very sporty, and it seemed like you had a lot of speed in the mid-rod. Tell us a little bit about your race.
Yeah, the first half was pretty good. Dave and I checked out, and we were just kind of riding around, and it gave me a little bit to kind of search, see what was fast. Was able to get a good run on the first set of tires, and while the car was looser, but it wasn't much different. That doesn't make sense. It was kind of a come and go situation. It's like an on and off switch with these things. 1 minute you're sideways, and then the next lap you're on rails. So you got to really commit going into 1 and 2. 3 and 4 you had to be careful coming out, but other than that, on the long run, we were pretty good also, I think.
Yeah, it seemed like it. And, you know, Steven, you found yourself closing in on the race lead for Brian Wilderson. Then I think, did the car fall away from you there?
Yeah, on the initial restart, we got a good start. And going into 3 and 4, I heard him coming. Brian just sailed the thing in there, and we were the victim. We got pinched in between him and the wall, and I don't know if it affected the right side a little bit. Got a little heated, probably used the tires up a little bit, and it's one thing catching them, but going through 3 and 4, he could really take the air off at the bottom, and it ruins your whole run. Then you got to catch him up again, and then toward the end, I was just setting it kind of on autopilot, threw in the white flag, and was kind of hoping for a caution.
Yeah, late race yellow would have definitely shaken things on up. And Steven, I know a lot of dirt guys. I know you're a dirt guy, and I know a lot of dirt guys look forward to Darlington because these cars are such on edge, and flirting with that wall is very like dirt racing. I mean, 2 out of the top 3, and I kind of consider Dave a little bit of a dirt track racer on the iRacing simulator. You guys all put on a class act. I mean, was it a little bit like dirt racing, especially when this thing got loose out there?
Yeah, Dave and I, we hold our own. We're not up there in the front like some of the guys, but we hold our own. Yeah, 1 and 2, you kind of use. I kind of described it like a Hot Wheels track earlier. 1 and 2 is so banked. If you hit going into 1, there's kind of a little dip, and then if you gas it just right, it'll kind of rip you right out of 2, and the car gets a little yawed out, and you just kind of hold the wheel straight, pay attention to the wall, and if you hit it just right, it'll slingshot you right out of there.
Yeah, that seemed like the case here tonight, Steven. A lot of fast lines, and I tell you what, a lot of people flirting with the wall. I think you got a few Darlington stripes by the end of tonight.
Yeah, 3 and 4 was definitely it was a tricky one. It'd bite you if you weren't careful. You try to roll in the top, and then you get in the dirty stuff up on the very top, and you hit the wall. If you drive it in too low in the bottom, it'll just wash right up. So 3 and 4 was almost just as tricky as 1 and 2.
Yeah, it did seem that way. Well, Steven, before we let you go and celebrate this runner-up finish, we got, of course, thank you for, I believe it's a throwback Greg Biffle paint scheme on the car.
Yeah, it might have been some bad luck. Maybe just like him in real life, we get used up.
Yeah, maybe that's the case. But before we let you go now, for the final time, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank here tonight at Darlington.
Shout out to Turn 3 and all you guys for the broadcast, and Andrew and Tanner and all the guys at ASRC for letting us have a good league to run with.
Alrighty, awesome stuff from you, Steven. I'm sure we'll be talking to you some more before the season's on over. You have yourself a great rest of the night.
You do the same, buddy.
Alrighty, folks, that was our runner-up finisher, Stephen Hoffman, in the number 23 machine. Now we'll head down to Victory Lane and talk to the man of the hour, Flying Brian Wildison. Brian, do you got a copy of Spread the Jet in the booth here?
Hey, Brett, how's it going?
Oh, man, not too bad, but I think you're doing even better. Brian, how's it feel to be down in Victory Lane here tonight at Darlington?
Oh, Brett, I'm so stoked. I can't tell you how excited I am to get my first win here in the American Sim Racing Club at the historic Darlington racetrack. This place is such a great racetrack, and man, what a blast this race was tonight.
Yeah, I tell you what, Brian, you find yourself your first win of the Next Gen Series tonight for race number 6. You make yourself the 6th different winner, and most importantly, you take some stress off your back. You lock yourself into the playoffs. I mean, that's got to feel extra good on top of this win.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. That's the relief going forward, not having to worry about making the playoff.
Yeah, that is definitely a weight off your shoulders. And tell us, Brian, I mean, how were you so quick tonight? That 951 machine looked on rails, and you were the biggest mover of the night, up 7 positions. I mean, that thing looked fast, short, long, middle run. It seemed like you had that thing hooked up.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried there myself. I kind of joined late and barely caught the driver's meeting, and every time I made about 2 or 3 runs in practice and spun out in the first lap. So I was a little bit worried myself there. Qualified, I don't know, back towards 9th, I think. Yeah, just took it easy the first run, and then it kind of came back to me. I didn't have a whole lot of experience in these cars here at this racetrack, but I do have a pretty good amount of experience in this race car, or this racetrack overall in the sim. So kind of, once I got my training wheels off there, it came back to me.
Yeah, Brian, and I was telling Steven, you know, a dirt racer himself, and I tell you what, you dirt racers seem like you always have Darlington circled. That's because these cars are such on edge. It feels like flirting with that wall, and you doing a great job with that tonight. I mean, is that why you got this track always circled, it seems like?
Yeah, this place is a blast, and it always puts on spectacular long-run races. It's always a battle of who can save tires or balance saving tires, and also running fast. Because if you get out of that groove a little bit, get some marbles on your tires, it can take you another lap or 2 to recover, and by then you're a second off the pace.
Yeah, this track, you know, demands full concentration, and I know you had your eyes on your mirror a little bit when Hoffman was coming up on you, but you kept your head down, able to pull away. I mean, that's got to feel pretty good, and I know at the end of this one, Brian, you were praying for no yellow.
No, I definitely did not win any yellows. Yeah, I apologize there to Steven. I got into him on a restart. We kind of banged doors a little bit and put him into the wall. I kind of misjudged how much grip I was gonna have on green tires and slid up into them. But I guess it would be Darlington with a little bit of door banging and wall slapping.
Oh no, it wouldn't be, Brian. That's this place in a nutshell. You know, so hard to race around other cars. You're pretty much racing the track, and you add another car. It's a whole another X factor, let's say.
Yeah, there's a lot of dynamics that come into this racetrack. Like Steven was, I'm sure he was pretty mad at me. He was running me down, probably with a full head of steam, and he was burning his tires a little bit quicker than I was, and it took about 10 laps to catch me. And I moved down to the bottom lane in 3 and 4, took the air off of him, and he got loose. I did that about 2 or 3 times, so I'm sure he probably isn't pretty happy with me.
Hey Brian, but you know you got to do what you got to do to keep the race lead, and you doing everything right here tonight once you got out to the race lead. And Brian, why don't you tell the fans watching at home what's the Project Watershed we see all over this 951 machine?
Oh, it's just a YouTube channel, a little side project that I've going on. You go and check it out if you like. I'm sure a lot of fans of sim racing are going to be into that type of a YouTube channel. It's kind of something you put on and go to sleep to.
I was going to say, what can you find on that channel?
Yeah, it's just like a long form nature scene channel for picture screensaver.
Oh, that's pretty cool, Brian. And also with some real life stuff, we see, I believe you have some crew chiefing experience at your local dirt track and maybe the street stock class and whatnot.
Yep, it was quite a while ago. My brother and I used to run a dirt car at local dirt track, and we had quite a bit of fun over there for about 10 years in the street stock class. So kind of cut my teeth there in the dirt series, and still love running them dirt cars.
Yeah, the dirt is something special. I know I'm looking forward to the dirt season out here with my old man running. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So Brian, once again, congrats on the win. You lock yourselves into the playoffs here. Like I said, that's got to feel good for you. 6 different winners this season. That is awesome to see. Before we let you go and continue celebrating down here in Victory Lane, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank for the 951 machine.
I got to thank you up there in the booth, Brett. You always do an amazing job. And of course, the American Sim Racing Club. You know, this race was one of the best races you're gonna see here on a Tuesday night. So come and check out this series if maybe you're thinking about running the sim.
Alrighty, appreciate the shout out there, Brian. You have yourself a great rest of the night, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you some more here in the future. That 951 machine, always very quick.
Thanks, Brett.
Alrighty, folks, that is Brian Wilderson just blowing up out in the front stretch here as that car overheats. So perfect timing for us to head on out and get us our race results. So last week we saw a record number of cautions. We saw 19. Tonight we only get 2, so a heck of a turnaround by these drivers. We now head to the race results. Brian Wilderson in the 951 machine picks up his first win of the Next Gen Series. He locks himself into the playoffs, making himself the 9th different winner. Stephen Hoffman in the 23 will finish second. Dave Payne in the 38 Pinkerton machine rounds out the top 3. Kyle Munson in the Ford Mustang number 8 machine finishes in 4th. 5th going to Brandon Marlowe, another top 5 by him. He's got to be pretty happy with that result. 6th going to Tim Rogers in the 48 machine. 7th, Hayden Swank in the 35. 8th, our spotlight driver, Nate Henry. Not the night he wanted, but able to come away with another top 10. He will finish 8th. 9th going to Drew Thiel in the 84 machine. Rounding out the top 10 is Deontay Hearer. 11th going to Dane Lloyd. 12th is Clay Atwood. 14th, Zach Rush. And 15th, Devin McDonald. As we got that a little bit mixed up. Dane Lloyd, 11th. Zach Rush, 12th. Devin McDonald, 13th. Clay Atwood, 14th. As if I could read, that could help, folks. As that will do it for race number 6 of the American Sim Racing Club Next Gen Series. Next week, we will see these drivers take on the very fast, newly repaved Atlanta Motor Speedway. You won't want to miss that one, folks. I've been Brett the Jet in the booth from Turn 3 Racing Network, Everyone, have yourself a great rest of the night, and we'll catch you next week. Be sure to tune into Turn 3 throughout the week to catch all the racing action, including all 3 different series of American Sim Racing Club. You won't want to miss them. As everyone, take care. Have a good night. Thanks again to all the live viewers. Thanks again to all the replay viewers. And, of course, Hoffman Racing in the YouTube chat. Got to give a shout-out to you. I've been Brett the Jet in the booth, and I just flew by you. Have a good one.